Hey there, today I'm doing another painting Studio Ghibli scenes, and today I wanted to paint some scenes from Arrietty. I recently watched that movie and I loved it so much. It is such a cute movie. I love especially all of the plants and all of the flowers. So I had to paint a lot of those scenes and I actually picked 5 of them. One of them is a bit of a bigger painting. This is the one that I'm doing now, and the other ones are just tiny paintings in my other sketchbook. I'm using Moleskine watercolor sketchbooks as well as Turner acrylic gouache and Staedtler synthetic brushes. And as always, I'll try my best to link everything in the description box down below. And I also used some washi tape. You can use any kind of tape, any kind of decorative tape if you want to make clean borders for your paintings in your sketchbook. And yeah, this one I think is from IKEA. I think those are great because they have the right amount of stickiness. So here you can see that I'm starting with the background, and this piece had a lot of layers, and at first I didn't know whether it would turn out good or not, and I just didn't know. I had to keep going with it and had to believe that it would turn out good. And it did. I'm proud of how it turned out in the end. I'm really proud of all the paintings that I did for this video. And it's just a big learning curve when you copy someone else's art, and especially Studio Ghibli art. It's so intricate, so detailed, and I'm absolutely sure that it's done on a bigger scale than the paintings that I did here. I just prefer to paint on a smaller scale and fill my sketchbooks that way, but obviously then I can't include as many details as in the original artwork. But I think it's a good thing because otherwise it would have taken me forever. The footage for this video was long enough. It was over 5 hours. I think it was close to 6 hours actually. So I spent enough time on this, and I don't need to exactly copy every single piece, but it's sometimes hard for me to understand that I don't have to, because obviously when you copy someone else's art, you always compare it to the original, and then you see that the original is more detailed or that you made a little mistake or something like that, and it never measures up to the original, obviously, because you're trying to get there and replicate that. It will never look exactly as the original does. And so I'm having kind of a hard time to copy those pieces because I find it hard to let go of the thought that it has to look like the original. But yeah, I learned a lot doing these, and in the end I'm really proud of how they turned out. I don't compare them to the original anymore now that I look at the finished pieces. I'm just proud of what I managed to create, and again, I learned so much doing this. So if you want to copy especially Studio Ghibli scenes, you can learn a lot by that. And I used acrylic gouache this time. I believe that in the original movies they used poster paint, which is supposed to be very similar to water soluble gouache. So I used a slightly different material. By the way, if you're interested in the differences between water-soluble gouache and acrylic paint and watercolors, I have a video about that explaining that. So check out the video just in case you're interested in the differences. And you can see the picture slowly really coming together now. And yeah, I think now it looks really cool. Then I removed the tape, which is always so satisfying, as we all know. I just had this tiny little blob at the bottom, but I painted over it with an acrylic marker, and now it's gone. So here's the finished first piece. I wanted to announce that I have a new Skillshare course. It's actually about gouache. It is how to paint these two little gouache illustrations, and I made sure that it was really a step-by-step how to do this. So if you want to learn how to paint these illustrated pieces, then check out the new Skillshare course. I will link it in the description box. And then, like I said, I did 4 more pieces, so we're not finished yet. And here you can see my other watercolor sketchbook. I really actually prefer this format. It's also from Moleskine, but I usually can't find that on Amazon. I don't know why. I don't know if it's sold out or whatever is the matter. Sometimes they do sell it and sometimes they don't, but I actually really prefer that one. So yeah, I have that one at home and I'm trying to fill it because for 2021 I'm trying to fill as many of my unfinished sketchbooks as I can. And again, here I'm using the Turner Acrylic Gouache, and I started off with a very basic layer on the first piece. I believe I did the first piece in one go and then started with the other pieces. So at first you're just gonna see me do the first piece, and I picked a scene that I thought was one of the simplest scenes from the movie, but it turned out that it was still very intricate. Yeah, I think that's the word. And had a lot of little details that I didn't even see before. There's so much to all of these scenes, and painting those, you can really start to understand how much work they actually put into them and how much consideration and thought must have gone into them, because there's always kind of a background and then the middle part and the foreground and little details on the side, and it's sometimes everything is a little bit overlapping, and it looks like it was a lot of work to paint all of these, and you must be really skilled to achieve that result. So I have a lot of respect for Studio Ghibli and all of the artists that made these movies happen. And since my last Studio Ghibli video, I've actually watched some more movies. I've watched Ponyo, which I thought was cute but a little bit weird and confusing. I've tried to watch Princess Mononoke, but it's way too violent for me. I can't watch something like that. I can't deal with that. I'm too sensitive for this. I can't handle this, so I stopped watching it. I've watched From Up a Poppy Hill. I don't know what it's exactly called, but yeah, that one was really lacking the magic. There was no magic in this movie. It was a cute movie, but no magic. I was kind of sad, kind of disappointed, not gonna lie. Yeah, that were the movies that I watched or tried to watch in the meantime since I made the last video. If you haven't watched the other video where I painted Totoro scenes, then check out that one as well. Now that I'm finished with the first painting, I started to do all the others, but it took quite a while for all of the layers to dry, so now I'm going back and forth between all of those, which is always a good idea if you're doing multiple pieces, because when it is drying, then you can move over to the next piece. But my girlfriend got me a heating tool, and now I can paint much quicker, because with that I can dry the paint, and I've already tried it and it works amazing. It works so much better than a hairdryer. So I'm gonna use this in some of my upcoming videos so I can paint much quicker and not have to wait until everything dries. Because when you use a hairdryer, then especially when you use watercolor or a lot of paint in general, a lot of water in general, I can't speak today, then all of the water and the paint spreads all over the place in ways you haven't intended it. But with the heating tool, it's much more controlled and much easier. So I really love that thing already, even though I've just tried it a little bit. And yeah, here you can see everything coming together. At this point, I couldn't really tell if it was gonna work, if the composition would work and everything. I wasn't sure at this point. I was just trying to believe in everything. And I have to admit, it felt kind of daunting to paint all of these scenes. In the first video with the Totoro scenes, I had a lot of fun, but I had the same feeling as well. And I think here the daunting feeling was even more real. But in the end of painting these scenes, I listened to some mindset podcasts and things like that. And then I was in a much better mood and had a way better experience. So there goes to say that it really depends on your mood, and you can really change your mindset and then have a better time at creating art, because often that's really what makes it easier and what keeps me going. I have to distract my mind, and yeah. So if you want to listen to anything that's fun and distracting while painting, I really recommend my podcast. I talk a lot about different mindset things. I've recorded quite a few episodes so far. I'm currently on a little bit of a break. I didn't record any in the last few weeks, but I will get back into it. I already have a lot of ideas for this year, but I won't do it every week. I kind of want to do it every time I feel that I have an important topic to talk about. And I have about 2 or 3 at the moment that I really want to talk about. So there will be new podcast episodes, and I will tell you when they are out there. Things like that. Most of the time, I mention them in the YouTube community tab. So if you're interested what's going on when I upload podcast episodes or have any other fun things, check out the community tab, because there I can make posts and talk about these things. I often also talk about them in my Instagram stories, and all my social media is linked in the description box as well. So just to recap, check out my new Skillshare course. Check out the video with the differences between watercolors and all the other mediums. Check out my podcast and my Instagram. Whenever you're interested, check out those things. So here you can see the tree and the piece here coming together, and I love this piece. I love the original. It is such a beautiful scene. It's right at the beginning of the movie, and I was so impressed with it. I remember seeing it and instantly knowing that I wanted to paint it. I really love the composition and the light beams and everything, and I am really proud of myself for how I managed to pull it off. And so here are the light beams. I also have them in this piece that I'm now currently working on, the one on the bottom left. But I don't think that they turned out as great in this piece, but I think in the end it looked okay. So I'm not here to criticize everything, because I'm actually really proud of all of these pieces. Have you ever watched a Studio Ghibli film? I'm very interested in that. And which one is your favorite? Actually, these kinds of videos from other creators have gotten me into watching the movies, because the only Studio Ghibli film that I knew was Spirited Away, and I don't particularly like that movie. So I thought every one of these movies was going to be like Spirited Away. And in a way they are all a little bit weird, but some of them are really great, like Arrietty. I think it's such a cute movie. I don't want to spoil the movie and tell you what's happening. I have a little bit of issues with the plot, but I don't want to add a little spoiler here, so I'm not gonna talk about it in too much detail. I really want you to watch the movie, because it's such a cute movie, and I had so much fun watching it, especially with all the plants. If you know my channel, you probably know that I love plants, even though all of the plants in my apartment are currently dying because it's winter, I suppose. I hope that winter's at fault here and not me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong because they were all thriving and now they're all dying. I don't know, I guess it's the heating and winter in general. I hope that in spring they will start to thrive again. At least the ones that aren't dead until then. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it's okay. I mean, I'll just get new plants, I guess. At the moment, we don't have a lot of space, anyways, in our apartment since my girlfriend moved in, and now we're already looking for a new apartment so that we can have more space. And I'm probably gonna have an art studio then, and I'm so excited for that, even though I'm scared a lot because the new apartment's gonna be much more expensive, and I really have to think how I'm gonna pull that off, but we can manage it right now. I just have to consider the time when I will go full time with my business. So a lot of things are happening here. I also met with a new accountant, and that word always reminds me of the TikTok with accountants. If you have TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so a lot of things are happening behind the scenes, and I'm working on my mindset a lot lately because I really have to grow and evolve right now. But I believe that that's always the case. That's always happening when you have a business and when you are creative. You always have to be on to yourself and how your mindset's working. And if you don't, life just happens anyways. You have to learn these lessons whether you want to or not. I'd rather have help and be very intentional with my personal growth than have life happen and push me in the face and then I have to grow. I mean, we all learned that last year that things can change super quickly and everything could look completely different in a year. I mean, last year we didn't expect everything to be the way it is now, and I'm sure we all grew in a lot of ways last year because we have had to adapt. And I'd rather be intentional with my growth than just have it happen to me in a way. So I really love to do personal development and listen to podcasts and do all of those kinds of things. And that's why I started my own podcast and make mindset courses and things like that. And yeah, I'm really rambling a lot in this video talking about everything and nothing, but I don't really know what to tell you about the pieces other than the fact that I'm proud. We are slowly coming towards the end. I'm now finishing the last piece. I really love all of these flowers, and I love doing videos like these that aren't exactly tutorials. I'm just talking about my experience with the videos. I'd love to do more videos like that because then I don't really have to think about how I'm gonna teach them to you. And I really love teaching you in Skillshare classes because I have more time for that. And yeah, the video doesn't have to be as quick. And here you can see I'm removing the tape again, which is satisfying as always, especially when you have multiple pieces and then you can see them all together. And I love this page spread. I'm so proud of this one. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.